gift of GAB I would like to speak to you about today, though, is GAB as an acronym for Goals, Attitudes, Behavior. Goals, Attitudes, Behavior. And how if you adopt and adapt this concept of goals, attitudes, and behavior, it will provide you with a number of tips, tricks, and techniques that will help you on your Toastmasters journey. The gift of GAB, Goals, Attitudes, Behavior. So we ready to rock? Yeah. We ready to roll? Yeah. Oh, bless my soul. Okay. Now, goals, attitudes, behavior. G is the first element, goals. Research I have done on successful businesses and on successful corporations and on successful people convinces me that one of the reasons why many of these people and organizations are successful is because they've got a clear goal and a clear vision as to what success will look like. A clear goal and a clear vision as to what success will look like. For some of you here in the audience, you might not be surprised that me as an Irishman, I am a very keen consumer of a famous black drink. There are few things in life that give me greater pleasure than going to my local establishment, ordering my favorite beverage, waiting patiently for that drink to be poured, and then, before I take my first satisfying sip, as I watch this creamy head settle over this black drink. I'm getting thirsty here, I tell you. I often ponder why this drink has become so world famous. And as I'm sure each of you here will appreciate, I am, of course, speaking about Starbucks coffee. Sorry, have I misled you? All right. But the reason, though, why I speak about Starbucks is because of Howard Schultz, who is the driving force behind Starbucks. He didn't found the company, but he joined it very, very early in its history. And Howard Schultz, when he came to Chicago just over 20 years ago to introduce Starbucks to the Chicagoland area, the first place outside of Seattle, Howard Schultz was walking the streets of Chicago with a business colleague of his, and he extolled what I would call is a clear goal and a clear vision, the first element of the gift of GAB. Clear goal, clear vision. Howard Schultz was walking the streets of Chicago with that business colleague, and he said to that business colleague, in 5 years' time, everyone in this street will be walking around with a Starbucks cup in their hand. In 5 years' time, everyone in this street will be walking around with a Starbucks cup in their hand. Now, Howard Schultz had that clear goal and that clear vision just over 20 years ago, when hardly anyone in the Chicagoland area was aware of Starbucks, when cash was so tight that he was not taking any salary out of the business, and he was actually sharing the hotel room with that business colleague of his. But Howard Schultz, though, had a clear goal and a clear vision as to what success would look like. He could see it, he could visualize it, he could imagine it. And it was that clear visualization, that clear imagination, that energized him, got him out of bed every morning, and helped him to build Starbucks to the amazing business that it is today. Today, there are over 18,000 Starbucks coffee shops around the world. There seems to be a Starbucks coffee shop on every corner. And indeed, the Onion newspaper ran a headline some months ago that said, next Starbucks unit to be situated in restroom of Starbucks unit. That's how ubiquitous Starbucks has become. But it happened, though, because Howard Schultz had a clear goal and a clear vision. And Howard Schultz had that clear goal and that clear vision at a time in Starbucks history when it had barely completed its icebreaker. But what Howard Schultz managed to do, though, is he eventually has become what I would call as one of the most famous DTMs in the world. And by DTM in this case, I mean distinguished taste maker. But it happened because he had a clear goal and a clear vision as to what success would look like. For you in Toastmasters, or for you in your business life, the question for you is, do you have a clear goal and a clear vision as to what success will look like? Can you visualize, can you imagine what success will look like for you in your Toastmasters environment, or in your business, or in your personal environment? And if you can imagine what it will look like, you have a much better chance of being successful.
Conor was awesome at our convention. He provided a great presentation, mixed great business tips with great humor, and worked overtime to customize it to our needs and to fit our audience. Fantastic and definitely worth having with us.